Safiya says, is wearing niqab an obligation or a voluntary act? And what are the evidences from the Quran and Sunnah as why to wear the niqab? Niqab is what is known as a face veil. So whatever a woman wears on her face, this veil with an opening for the eyes, this is called niqab. And it's called niqab because of the opening of the eyes. It's naqb, which is a hole. And this is an obligation according to the most authentic opinion of scholars. Allah Azza wa Jal mentioned in the Quran in chapter 33, Surah Al-Ahzab, in verse 53, He orders the mothers of the believers, who are the wives of the Prophet ﷺ, to communicate with companions of the Prophet from behind a hijab. And the consensus of all scholars of Muslims that all wives of the Prophet ﷺ must cover their faces. There's no difference of opinion upon them or among them. All wives of the Prophet ﷺ must cover their faces. And this ayah 53, whenever you ask for utensils from them, ask from behind a screen. This is purer for your hearts and their hearts. So this is total segregation. You cannot see the wives of the Prophet ﷺ faces. This is verse 53. Now, having this at the back of your mind and moving 6 verses later from the same surah, Allah says in verse 59, Ya ayyuhan nabi, O Prophet of Allah, قل لأزواجك وبناتك ونساء المؤمنين, command your wives, your daughters, and the women of the Muslims, يدنين عليهن من جلابيبهن, to lower down from their garments. ذلك أدنى أن يعرفن فلا يؤذين. This is more befitting that they are not recognized, so that they are not harassed. Now, in this ayah, the command is for 3 types of women to lower their garments so that they're not identified. So, the wives of the Prophet, the daughters of the Prophet, the women of the Muslims, 3 types. Now, if you compare this ayah to verse 53, where it commands the wives of the Prophet to cover their faces, if you come and compare this ayah to this ayah, the command in this ayah is for what? To cover their faces. But in addition, for the wives of the Prophet ﷺ, Allah included the daughters and the women of the Muslims, which means that they as well should cover their faces, as mentioned in ayat 53, because the mothers of the believers are joined with them in this command in ayah 59. And there are a lot of other evidences mentioned in the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, which is logical. But before it's logical, it is the ruling of the Quran and the Sunnah according to the most authentic opinion of scholars. Why do we say logical? The face of a woman, as they say, is her identity. If her identity is open to all, this is what includes features of beauty. This is when she smiles or frowns. This is where expressions happen. And if this is exposed then those with illnesses in their hearts will be surely tempted. And when the Prophet ﷺ showed us the process of getting married, he commanded us to look at the woman we are interested in getting married. A man came to the Prophet ﷺ and said, "O Prophet of Allah, I proposed to so and so from the Ansar." So the Prophet said, "Did you look at her before you propose?" He said, "No." The Prophet said, "Go and look at her." This means that if the woman was walking in the streets of Medina, going to the shopping centers or to shops or to the masjid, and she was unveiled, the Prophet would not have told him to look at her because the man can see her. But this indicates that every woman, according to Mother Aisha, used to wear the veil and cover from head to toe. There are so many examples that we can talk about, but this is not the time. It is safer for a woman to hide her identity, to hide her beauty, so that she is not harassed. A woman wearing the niqab, no one would come and say, "Whoa, what a beautiful look, what a gorgeous woman." Nobody would whistle to her. But a beautiful woman who is not covered, she would probably be harassed in such a awful and disrespectful fashion. And Allah Azza wa Jal.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salamullah.
What advice would you give to the Muslim sisters who constantly have to face discouraging comments from family members or other Muslims who try to convince them that the niqab will be a hurdle in life and that it'll inhibit them from doing basic things like getting a decent education, or just in order to live a normal life, they would have to completely take it off?
Every person on earth has his test. Don't ever forget this fact. Even the richest man on earth, who is he? Elon Musk? Warren Buffett? Bill Gates? The richest man on earth is being tested. Allah did not create a human being or a jinn without them being tested. People tests vary. Some are tested with wealth. What are they going to do with it? They're going to squander it in haram. They're going to earn it from haram. It's their test. They're going to pay for it. It's only a few years, and then in the hereafter, when it's time for the scales to be weighed, Allah would hold them accountable, and then it's either heaven or hell. Some are tested with poverty. They can't pay their bills. They can't pay the rent. They can't make ends meet. So they struggle and they suffer. This is their test. Some are tested with health, power, youth. And Allah would see what they do with all of that. And others are tested with calamities, with illnesses, with handicapped, with diseases. And Allah would also test them to see whether they're patient, tolerant, content, or objecting and complaining. Your test is in abusive and bullying members of your family who do not like the fact that you're being righteous, practicing, wearing the niqab. So they try to put hurdles in front of you, obstacles. They try to intimidate you, exactly as the plan which Satan has placed for them. Allah says in the Quran, "Ash-shaytanu ya'idukum al-faqr wa ya'murukum bil-fahsha wallahu ya'idukum maghfiratan minhu wa fadla wallahu wasi'un alim." Allah Azza wa Jalla, Satan orders you or promises you with poverty and orders you to do vice and sins, while Allah promises you with forgiveness and grace. So whose promise are you going to believe? So these bullies come and try to intimidate you. You'll never get married. Nobody will see you. You'll never make it in school. It's going to be an obstacle for you to get a job. You'll never have a career. You'll never have a life. Look at everybody else. They're enjoying their lives. They're going to Disney World, Disneyland, and having fun and living their normal lives while you are wearing a tent over your head. You're all covered like a ninja warrior, and everybody's terrified from you. This is what they say. Footnote. This is what they used to say to our Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. The same abuse, the same harassment. But what happened? What doesn't kill you makes you stronger, as they say. Look at the companions, how they tolerated such abuse and bullying, and they became the leaders of the world. You are on their footsteps. You're walking the same path. This is the roadmap that we all have to follow. You're tolerant, you're patient, you're content, you're giving them a big smile and not arguing with them, not being provoked by what they say, not defending yourself. Just give them a smile and don't reply. It will turn the tables on their heads. They'll be agitated. They'll be angered by failing to provoke you and to make you react negatively. And this will make you prevail in this dunya, and it will make you prevail at the sight of Allah Azza wa Jal. So remain steadfast on Islam. Abide by the Quran and the Sunnah. Who cares if they praise you and clap all day long for you, or they criticize you and say bad things about you? I could care less. I'm doing what I'm doing for the sake of Allah, and I'm willing to go all the way to the end for the sake of Allah, and Allah knows best.